What is going on, everybody? Happy Cinco de Mayo 2020. What a fun day today has been. There is so much news going on that it is incredible trying to just keep up with everything, all the changing of what the fear should be. Now we have murder hornets heading our way. It's just mind-boggling, right? And so I've been busy. We still have lots going on with our clients, with 401k plans. There's still lots of questions around distributions and around how to compensate, basically for how to compensate high-level executive teams when you need to make changes to the 401k based on revenue shifts and COVID-19 causing a drop in cash flow. So we've seen some plans that have had to go through some things that they weren't expecting. 2019 was a great year and they made changes to the 401k plan. Now they're trying to adjust for more planning because I think there's a unique situation right now with the 2.5 months that people have their payroll protection program money. In order to keep that money and make it forgiven and not make it a loan, there's certain things that need to be followed. And this video is not all about that, but I think it's going to be interesting to watch what will happen at the end of that when people have made it through that time frame when they can't furlough or lay off anybody. And we're already kind of at high numbers from a high unemployment standpoint. So it's fascinating. So with all the amount of people at home that aren't in jobs, that have lost their jobs or are working from home and just don't have a lot to do and luckily, maybe hopefully still getting paid, but kind of in a scary spot in their life and trying to figure out and hunt, and probably my guess would be to drop resumes all over the internet. I know I've seen a lot of that going on LinkedIn. I would say one of the best things people can do is just tell everyone the situation you're in, put it out there on social media and say, look, this is what happened. I need help. Just ask for the help. There's more than enough people willing out there in your network that you didn't even know could hopefully line something up. But one thing I keep seeing people post about on social media, which relates obviously to my niche of 401ks, is side hustles being the new 401k. So I want to discuss that today. I want to kind of get into where that's coming from and what that really means and why people might make that comparison, because I think there is a lot of culture shift around what retirement actually means. And so I did a post this weekend, just a simple one saying retirement plans are changing. It's actually a pretty deep comment. When I thought that through, I was thinking to myself, not only is technology, on the forefront of 401ks getting better, we're seeing that on the small plan space, but I think it's going to continually improve. We're going to get better experiences. It's going to be easier on our phones to just jump into our 401ks and see what's going on and have a little less friction getting in and out of those different investments, but also on the distribution and contribution side, as we get more seamless with how we get paid in our jobs and how that money flows to different areas. I think technology is only going to get better there. But the other side of that, which is about the topic today, is for retirement plans are changing. 401ks are changing, meaning the how we think of retirement has definitely shifted. What do I mean by that? Well, I think going back a few years back, in the 80s and 90s when 401ks were still fairly new, it was all part of the whole system. You typically had a pension if you stuck around somewhere, and then the 401k kind of came in, and we talked about why that shifted from why a company would do a pension versus a 401k. It was a huge benefit to throw the 401k in there. But people were also very different in how they were spending. We had different saving rates. People typically had a little bit more cash in the bank in different areas and different ways to tap into resources. And retirement was an age that they were targeting, right? You really were like, I'm going to work till 65 because that's when my pension kicks in. I've got enough saved over here. I know where I'm going to pull this money from. And it was kind of a full system. And now you see a lot of people that attack the 401k world because they think it's a failing dream, right? That you can't really retire with your 401k, and they're right to some degree, because most people do not take the 401k serious enough early in their career to make it a successful vehicle to retire 100% just on that. Let's be honest. Most people's balances in your average employee making the average income wherever area they live in, if they haven't taken it serious early on, they probably don't have a significant dollar amount in their 401k to actually live off that for 20, 30 years. It's just not common. And the people that do have larger account balances, the unfortunate aspect of that I find, those are your people that are your high earners that are pretty high spenders as well. And so even though their dollar amount may seem significant enough for them to live off of in retirement, their spending habits would definitely drain that just as fast as someone with a smaller balance and better habits spending. So can the question I want to first ask is, can a 401k actually be a sole vehicle or a sole account that you can live off in retirement? The answer is absolutely yes, but it's the same answer for a savings account. Even with very low interest possibly, it's more on you and what you put away and the compounding interest that accrues over a longer period of time. I always tell people, you're never going to invest your way out of not saving. You have to save. You have to continue to put money away, spend less than you make and put that in there. That's hard. People don't like to hear that. They want to spend every dollar they make. They want to continue to do things that travel or improve their house or buy a car. Like, there's so many things we want to do and live in the now that we don't take saving serious enough. And I've fallen in that trap many, many times, right? I think we all do. I don't know a single person that doesn't spend money on things that they shouldn't. Like, everybody has the stuff that they want and they go and do it, even though they probably could live without it. So the answer is yes in a lot of ways. The 401k can be one of the most powerful ways to do it from the tax perspective, because you can put away $19,500 tax deferred. Now, if you don't understand the tax bracket system, it's going to be hard for you to determine what you should be doing there. But on top of that, you've got to invest your money appropriately. Now, too many people take that to mean, well, how old am I? What should I be? And that whole, I don't even know what it is because I don't believe it, as far as what your age is and multiply that by what percentage of fixed income you should have. That's pretty generic advice that you really shouldn't, I don't think, take to heart. You need to think more about, when is this money going to be spent? Right? If you need money to pay your mortgage or your rent next month, you're not going to throw that into the stock market and hope, hey, I hope this rides for a month and then we're going to pull it out and pay. No, that's a short term. You need that money, right? You can't risk it. So what do? You leave it in your checking account, or worse yet, you don't even have it in your checking account. You have to get it from your check the day it comes and you pay your bills. So we know interest rates are at, crazy lows. So your money's not going to grow and compound very quickly in a checking account or a savings account at a bank. I mean, those returns have been so low for a long time that you're not going to stay ahead of inflation, and that's the problem. So how do you combat inflation? You have to invest your money in the market appropriately for when you're going to spend that money, and you have to be able to take some risk. You look at March, terrible month. You look at April, great month. What's May going to hold? I don't know. The old adage is you sell in May and walk away. Who knows where we're going to go? Nobody knows. You can watch CNBC all day long and see that somebody's on both sides of the decision, buy or sell, every single time. So you can't really base your decisions off of short-term news stories. So anyway, going back, talking about retirement, what does it mean when people are saying the new 401k plan is a side hustle? And that goes back to the thing of retirement's different. It's not an age. You're not shooting for 65 anymore. People are taking it more serious to live the lifestyle they want to live now and to maintain that throughout the rest of their life. Whether they have to keep working until they die, it doesn't seem to impact people. They're not making decisions solely on that. They're driven, and everyone has their own opinion, but more people are trying to go after what they, I think, enjoy, and that's kind of the culture that we're living in, this huge movement for financial independence, retire early. It's all to do with spending habits, right? And understanding how you save and make that money work for you over time and use just what it's growing. So what's fascinating to me is the idea, the concept of retirement is slowly fading because people honestly don't think that they can one day just stop. And on the flip side of that, there's a whole other argument that's maybe a good thing for a lot of people that don't do well when they don't have something they're working on. So I know that we have that discussion a lot with our clients when they're getting close to retirement age and they're wondering, oh, I want to stop work. it can go downhill really fast if you don't have what you've had in your life for 30, 40 years. And all of a sudden you just, you have fun for a little bit, but then things start to get a little bit more difficult. So having a side hustle, something you're passionate about that you love that also could generate some income is a great idea. I think it's a wonderful idea that most people now luckily are thinking more about because of COVID-19, because we're stuck at home, because now we have more time than ever on our phones and our laptops to learn. And investing in yourself and investing in what you could potentially share and teach others is a huge market. And that's really what is surrounding why I'm doing 401j, right? Not only am I still managing my 401k book of business, and in that case, being very busy during the day, I'm also finding that I really enjoy helping other advisors and other people in the industry do a better job in the 401k industry. And that's fun for me. I love teaching and coaching and helping people because I know that in the end, they're impacting more families and helping them figure out their future. And so I found that I really enjoy it. And I think there's a lot of people that are starting to dabble in that. And it's an interesting world because there's a lot of really terrible, just greedy people that are selling courses and different online things to help you do that aren't very valuable. They have you locked in because they just kind of put a lot of bells and whistles around how they attract you to get you to do this. You spend a few bucks, 50, 100, 200, sometimes thousands of dollars, and then you get nowhere. But it gives you this glimmer of hope. I've seen that firsthand in other events when we used to go get together, like Tony Robbins events all the time. There's leading up to it when he speaks, there's things like that. Now it's all online. So you start to go through your feed and you start to think, I'm look up online business and whatever your specific talent is. And it can be anything, like literally anything. Think about my wife. She's incredible with our yard. Like she knows plants, names. I don't even know how she remembers. I can't remember a single plant name. We'll walk into a place that even Costco that has plants and she'll know every name. And it's such a talent. And I'm trying to slowly, convince her that she could help a lot of people that would pay her decent money to learn this stuff and figure out their own land, in a new way online with their phone. You don't necessarily have to call a landscaper, have them come out and do this big bid and everything. You could just teach them and they could pay you for a few bucks and you would just make one video and it would be out there forever on YouTube like we're doing now. So it's fascinating the world we live in, the ability we have to interact and share with millions and millions of people across the entire world. There's no limits anymore. You don't have to pay for a lease on a building. You don't have to buy all this equipment. You can take your iPhone or your whatever phone you have and shoot videos and teach someone your talent that you're passionate, that you love, that doesn't even feel like work and get paid to do it. That to me is an interesting concept that could pay dividends for years and years to come. I was just looking at a YouTube video last night trying to figure out how to improve my Instagram bio. And I found a post from a kid, I can't remember his name, Tap something. He made a video 2 years ago about how to do this in Instagram. And for some reason I couldn't figure it out. It had over 500,000 views. He literally just held up his iPhone, shot it, and then posted it. It's been sitting there and people continue to search for it. Whatever your talent is, it's valuable to someone somewhere. And if you're willing to put in the time and effort, and it's a lot of effort, trust me, it is not something you can just barely tiptoe in. You got to really get into it and be committed and be consistent and look at the long game. But the ability to do has never been greater, never been easier. And that I see as the comparison to a 401k, which gives us that security or that hope that this is something that will generate an income for us in retirement so we can do more things we want to with our families and have more free time. Put a ton of work in for years and years, save and save, spend that money in retirement. That's the concept. Put a lot of work into an online business that can generate income down the road, and you'll still have to work on it. It's not going to be this, there's no such thing as 100% passive, never do anything other than, I'd say that to me the market itself, just buying a mutual fund, is probably the closest thing. But even then you got to keep doing research. So it's not even 100% hands off. So I just think that's fascinating that now we're starting to see that that come up. And so how does the 401k fit into that new modern world where we're thinking we're going to not retire, we're going to work through retirement, we're going to find a way to find a balance in our lives to have the time to do what we want to do while also generating income? How does the 401k fit? Well, the 401k can still be a significant tool and a resource to you, especially as your income continues to be there and grow. You're going to need to find a way to mitigate your taxes or to navigate the tax code at that time so that you can have a strategic approach to not only saving that money, but when you spend it. Because that's a very significant opportunity for you to make that money even greater for you, which would last longer and maybe be something you could leave behind as a legacy to your family. But if you don't take the time to understand taxes, and a 401k is simply a tax specific strategy account. The 401k is not an investment, it's an account type. So even a solo entrepreneur working at home with an online business maybe just gets paid money from selling courses, from YouTube, from influencer sponsors, like sponsorships, or maybe a podcast. Like however that income is generated, it's got to flow through to an entity that you create, probably an LLC. And when you have that, you can create a solo 401k or just a 401k if you have employees and put away $19,500. But you have to design it right. And then that at least is a little bit of a diversification from your business. Because not only are you paying less in taxes, you're also pulling a little bit out of the company, putting it over here in this investment account, which could potentially help you should something uncertain happen that you weren't expecting. So the 401k is never, I don't see it ever being something that's completely gone or replaced. I don't know there's a way that we would build some other account type. The closest thing that is, I think, more powerful than it is an HSA. And still right now, the balance or the contribution limits on those are too low to really save a ton of money in a short amount of time. So when you work with an IRA, an HSA, and a 401k, and you work with all those account types, it's a significant number, especially if you design the plan right to put away the max dollar amount. So those are just some of the things that I've been thinking about, noticing the trend of people making comments about. The last thing I'll follow up with is doing what you enjoy. If you really go all in and having real happiness, like really liking what you do, there's value to that. Finding that is not always an easy path. I think a lot of people might struggle for years, and I know I did. I mean, I went through the whole idea of I was going to work my way up a few different companies and do the corporate ladder, and never really in a happy spot. I was always looking for that next big jump. How do I get there? And almost in a way of manipulating the process and shortening it, and always applying for jobs that I was not really qualified for, but I knew I would do amazing at, but I didn't have the history for them to even give me a shot. And once in a while, I got to one of those, and you keep making steps. But being truly happy instead of just bouncing around is so worth it. And so when I see stories where people have gone through this big, long corporate career and they've made a ton of money, and then they finally take that leap of faith to do what they love, whether it's in the same line of what they were doing before or completely different. I love those stories because there's nothing more valuable than to feel like your time is being spent being happy. If you're miserable and you make some more money you know what to do with, is it worth it? Or would it be better to be happy and kind of just be scraping by? I think that's something that I've heard all over. I mean, I think Gary Vee probably talks the most about that, but it's true. I've lived it. And that's something I'm really trying to teach my kids, that understanding the world we live in, the ability you have to teach others to solve problems can bring you real joy than just searching for a job or putting your resume out to a good company that you think you'd want to work for. You are way more valuable than you know. And I'm always trying to tell my kids that, and I want you to think that too, because just chasing 401ks because you think there's this huge opportunity and there's lots of money, there is a ton of money. But if you do it right, you shouldn't be thinking about that money. You should be thinking about the real reason behind why you do it. Do you love helping those employees actually get to retirement? Are you enjoying teaching them? do you get, or is it the opposite? Do you get annoyed if they call you and they ask questions and you get the same person calling you each month asking you, well, what should I do this month? Or how do I get a rollover? Or how, and they're a real problem. Do you hate that? There's a lot of pros and cons to being in the 401k industry, but to me, the greatest part is you can have impact on literally thousands of people because of the position you're in to help them with one of the most important things that they are working towards, retirement, more time with their family. So a big part of what you should be doing is coaching them, helping them understand how this 401k fits into the big kind of plan that they already have personally to work towards retirement. Because most people, this is the first account they've ever had that would even bring that concept into play. So be happy, help people, reach back and pull those other people up that aren't happy, and share what you know with others, and it can lead to some huge results. And the new 401k, I get it, is definitely having a side hustle, and it can be a great thing, but it takes a lot of work. But if you like it, it won't feel like work. All right, have a great Cinco de Mayo. I'm going to wrap up, and I'm going to jump on the Retireholics and listen to one of my favorite 401k advisors out there, Jeannie Fisher. She is an all-star when it comes to YouTube and putting out really quick information as things have been changing so fast. I've met her a few times, and she's awesome. So I'm really excited for today's show. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't, and check out my website. I'm almost done. I've got a few people going through beta on my 12-step program, and every time I keep adding a new step to it, because I've built the system out, and then I continually work on each step more and more, and the more deep I go, I ended up spending anywhere from each video and each steps anywhere from 15 to 60 minutes, essentially, with homework assignments, with projects, and a lot of accountability in 4 private coaching sessions. So it's really, really cool. I'm really excited to launch that here really soon. It's been a labor of love. Like I spend a lot of time on it every night, and it's really exciting because I can see improvements that I'm making personally, because I'm like, you know what, I know I should be doing that. I'm gonna do that better because everyone's gonna be looking at what I'm doing. So hopefully you're starting to see that. I'm trying to be more consistent with the things that I'm coaching everyone to do. But man, it's fun to see some of the improvements that I'm of my students, the people that I've been meeting, and the advisors that are seeing a change in what they're doing, and their practice is growing, and they're really they're making good updates, especially during this COVID-19 time when no one's really moving 401k plans. That will come. I really think this year end is going to be fantastic, but it's going to come from hard work and being seen right now when people are all in their homes. And how are they going to do that? They're on their phones. They're on their phones, and they don't want you to sell to them on their phones. So a big, huge section all about it is you're not going to sell on social. That's just not going to work. You're going to sell by creating value and trust, and they're going to want you to help them because they know that you can do it, because you're going to put out so much good content. Anyway, check it out. It's on my website. A little more information. You get on the wait list there at 401jake.com. Other than that, have a great Cinco de Mayo, and thanks for watching.